Hi, I'm Courtney Cobb, and I'm here with Jessica Healy and Dan Stoner. Here at Topograph, we are starting another video series called From the Wild, where we will interview some of our favorite people who we have either worked with or really admire. We are kicking this off with Dan Stoner, one of Jess's good friends and a teammate on many projects.
Yes. I chose Dan because he's fun to work with and he rolls with the punches. Dan is currently on the board for CARIS, the St. Louis Women's, Chorus, and New Line Theater. He is a Red Apron at Food Outreach, and he frequently helps with many other charities within St. Louis. Since we have worked on many fundraisers together, we wanted to discuss the topic of fundraising and how he works his magic. Dan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, I hear it's pretty snowy there right now.
Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
No sledding, no snowball fights?
No, not for me. I'm staying in where it's warm.
Okay, I hear you. All right. Well, we have a couple questions for you, and I'm sure you have dazzling answers. What are the things you're looking for when you are getting called to a fundraiser, like the cause? Tell me about that. Like, what calls to you?
I'm a sucker for pretty much any type of charity, any type of thing. Something that if I feel like it's actually doing good for somebody, that's really important to me. I tend to do a lot of research before I agree to work with somebody because I want to make sure that I have pretty strong values of my own, and I want to make sure that it kind of aligns with that. And then I want to make sure that the deals are something that they're raising money for something that's actually important and that actually makes a difference instead of just throwing a party or doing some frivolous employee payment type things.
Right. That's really smart. I mean, because you're right. You could be doing tons of work for a certain nonprofit and the cause just leads you down a rabbit hole and then it's not as productive as you thought or beneficial.
Yeah.
Smart.
I've also seen where a lot of companies want to host a big event and then they just team up with a nonprofit because they need the liquor license or something. And,
oh, yeah.
It's frustrating because it's like, but how much of these tickets are actually going to this? And like,
For sure. Anytime I see some kind of an event that just says a portion of tickets goes to whatever, then it's usually not very much and it's usually really frustrating. So
right. I will plead guilty on that. I have done that, except a good portion does go to the nonprofit. I'm not just going to do it or choose randomly someone. It actually is someone that I am wanting to make a difference for.
For sure.
But yeah, I like hearing that you do the background work and everything on that.
And you want to make sure that they're at least getting a good sized check to make it worth everybody's time.
Right.
Awesome. You just answered it. I was going to say, is there a tasteful way of doing that? Because sometimes you are in that like zone. So sometimes really neat companies that are for profit want to do something really engaging, and they do have to or team up with a charity or a nonprofit. Is there a way to do it tastefully, or?
I think so. I think it's pretty transparent now that whenever a company is doing something just for publicity stuff versus when they're actually making a difference. And I think a lot of the stuff that I work with are organizations that the rest of the work that the business may be doing should reflect those same values. So I think that's really important. If in the past they've done stuff to help out organizations that are similar, I think that speaks a lot to it.
Absolutely.
I like that. Good answer.
Yeah. All right, next. When you're talking about causes that you want to represent, how can you prepare organizations to be realistic with those expectations and asks? How have they come across with that, or how have you helped them with that?
I'm not sure. What exactly are you asking here?
So are there certain ways that you're helping these organizations prepare for the ask, let's say a donation, that they are?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of organizations, especially like the smaller nonprofits that don't have a lot of experience putting on events and fundraisers, they think really small, and they think that they're actually going to just be a headache to be asking these companies for stuff. These companies want to give money. It's great PR. So as long as there's a way that you can give some kind of a value back to them, they're going to write those checks. So a lot of times coming up with a social media campaign or something like that, having people that are involved with your fundraiser patronizing that business. I think back a lot of times to whenever I owned bars in the past, and whenever people would approach me, you could really tell whenever someone put some thought into what the value to give to me was versus just take. And so those most successful relationships with fundraising are whenever you can add some value to the business and make them look good. People respond well to that.
Yes. And I brought that up because I'm going to piggyback on that. You mentioned you have owned bars in the past. I met you when you were king over Myers Grove, in the Grove area of St. Louis. We connected because heavily to support the LGBTQ community.
Uh-huh.
And I loved how you always had your door open to, I'm not going to say any ask, but it was just amazing how open you were to it, to say, yes, let's do this. Let's figure out how we can tie in 5 other businesses down the street to
For sure.
The nonprofit that I worked for. Like, I really, really, really cherish that about you. And I think a lot of people could learn from that and take it.
Yeah, I think what stemmed that for me, I grew up really in a small town, really poor family. Most of my life I didn't have a lot of money. I'm not the type of person that can just write a check to a charity, but I always want to show support. And I realized when I had the bar and I owned that venue, that having a venue for an event is priceless. So if I could just open the doors and help someone come up with a fundraiser, maybe even during one of my off-peak times that space is going to be sitting empty anyway, it's a win-win for everybody. Again, it provides a value back to the business owner, but it also, I'm taking a huge chunk of an expense off of a fundraiser that can come in and utilize the space. So while I haven't always been in a position to give money to the charities and the events that I want to, if I can offer a space or something like that or some other skills, I think that that's giving back just as much.
Awesome. I have a off-topic question, kind of. I've been in the position with some of the breweries that I've worked for where, I mean, we do get bombarded constantly with various charities and organizations that they would always say to me, they're like, but like, it benefits you because people are going to taste your beer. And I was like, fantastic. Our brewery is huge. People have tasted our beer. How, when nonprofits, and you kind of already mentioned it, but like when people were like, but people will come to your venue for the first time ever, when was that ask actually meaningful to you? When, like, what was that tipping point where you're like, yeah, you're right, people will? Or what tugged at your heartstrings to make that actually happen?
That's kind of hard because, I mean, that goes back to the exposure thing, and everyone thinks that exposure is plenty. And that exposure doesn't pay the bills, sadly. So I think that for me, it was charities, again, and fundraisers that I think actually would make a difference, that I knew that I wouldn't have to stress over, which is important as a venue. I think it's also whenever, like a brewery like that you talk about that gets bombarded all the time, I think those are the situations that business can put together a full-on fundraising basic package that charities can come and do that. And so you see some of these companies that do dine on Tuesday nights and a portion of sales goes to this or something like that. So you can still get that exposure to those clientele, but you can just make it easy for the charities and stuff to come into, and saves you a lot of headache from having to deal with chaoticness.
I love that. That's so helpful. All right. What about, okay, so getting people super hyped on this, it's kind of twofold. And we talked about the companies, getting them on board, but what about attendees? So you might have the neatest charity involved and it's like a really, really good thing that you're getting behind, but everyone is hit constantly with like, come to my thing, come to my thing. How do you get people super hyped? How do you get people to come?
You know, like anything else we do right now, it's all about relationships, and you just got to build that reputation with people. They have to know that, you know, we all have so much money that we can give to charities, and we want to make sure we get the most bang for the buck too. Even if you don't love a charity, if you love the event, you're going to go. So people get tired of going to the same things every day. I mean, I'm in St. Louis and we have a trivia night. It's our thing here, and we do it all the time. And you get bombarded, and it's like, okay, I can only go to so many of these. I can only go to so many art shows. I can only go to whatever. So you gotta get creative. If you're throwing an event, like, have something weird and quirky that people are like, I can't not be at that. Right now, the food scene is really cool. It's really exciting whenever you have different chefs with food, different stuff that they can taste. No one wants to go to these old school galas that you sit down at a table for 10 and eat cold chicken anymore. Like, those days are so boring and so in the past that you just got to get creative. You got to have fun.
You've talked about a handful of the crazy events that you guys have done together.
Yes. And they usually involve food.
Always. Anytime someone comes to me with a food idea, I'm like, tell me more. I'm in. We can do this.
Yeah, I believe it was Dan's 21st birthday, because, you know,
21st.
It was one of your milestone birthdays, and we planned a macaroni and cheese, essentially a cook-off.
For sure.
And we paired it with wine. Macaroni and cheese was the best. We pulled a lot of different components. It made no sense, but yet it made all the sense as soon as you showed up.
I mean, I think by saying it was for my birthday, that tied it together for some reason. People were like, oh, there's food and there's like makeup and there's like everything, but whatever. People just wanted to celebrate. They wanted to have fun with it. Yeah. And it was a quirky, weird event that wasn't like anything else, so it worked. And you had the best chefs in town there, so that was insane.
Yeah, it was delicious. Yeah,
and we also did the one morning we did the waffle breakfast thing. Again, we had chefs from all over the city that put together these waffle toppings, and people came in pajamas and wanted to be there for it. So you just gotta be weird and bizarre with it, and people want to be there.
The best Bad Santa, by the way.
Yeah. For sure. We created that.
All of these events that we planned, they benefited a nonprofit, which was cool. Sure. I mean, we wanted to support them, yes, and raise money. That was the goal. But at the same time, we made it so much fun that we weren't relying, like we said earlier, how we're trying to attach a not-for-profit to actually have people come or entice people another way. It was, these events were fun and different and off the wall. And I think that is something that you constantly need to be thinking to re-engage people, and newness, bring it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of like, whenever you're putting on something like that, don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask people for help. By you bringing in different chefs and all that, we had all of their influence and all of their people that want to come and support them too. So don't just rely on your own like circle of influence. Get out some more people and get more people involved so that they have an investment into it.
That's one of my favorite strategies for actually marketing events, utilizing all of the people involved to use their social and their connections and it's that ripple effect. If one person's talking about it and another person over here is talking about it, eventually it's going to cross over in their
Yeah, because I mean, our basic group of friends are going to get tired of going to our same events over and over again. I mean, we make them fun, we try to, but you can only ask the same people for the same amount of money over and over and over again before they're like, okay, we get it, Dan. Like, stop hitting us up. So you got to get out there and get more people.
I love that. All right. So what are some of the things from, again, the organization side, what are some of the things you see they overlook when they're coming to either make a request or if they are trying to just do a fundraiser altogether? What are they missing?
I think a lot of them get stuck in the fine details, and they get in their own way. And events, it's one of those things. It's like people that plan their wedding and they stress over every little thing. Well, later on, you're going to laugh about the little mistakes that happen. And so it's the same way with an event. Like, you don't have to stress over everything. You need entertainment, venue, food, drinks. Like those are your core, your basic cookie cutter for an event. So anything that you can do off of that kind of stems out. And I think that a lot of people get stuck in that and they get worried about, well, what are we going to do about this? And what if this happens? And it's just like, just throw the event. It's going to be fun. Like as long as you can roll with the punches, like you're going to have a good event.
Nice.
Like that.
All right, Dan. Well, we have definitely picked your brain quite a bit. You mentioned that you used to own a bar.
Right.
What are you currently doing?
Now I do real estate.
Yeah.
It's a very random transition. I don't know how that happened. It just kind of did. When I got out of the bar world, I went the complete opposite, and I'm now a 9 to 5 to start up my own company. So 3 years into it, see where we go.
Very excited for you. And you're creating new avenues for relationships and to broaden people's awareness of needs that need to be met in the city. And
yeah, it's really cool. I got to work at owning a bar takes a lot of time. And so being able to actually dedicate my own time, again, I would dedicate the venue for stuff frequently. But now I'm able to spend time doing stuff, and I'm able to be on committees, and I'm able to be on boards and kind of help build the nonprofits up. And so that's been really exciting. I'm actually currently the St. Louis Women's Choir. I'm actually the board president of that, and we're doing a lot of training and we're doing a lot of advancements this year, kind of getting some stuff streamlined, and we've seen a lot of growth in the last couple of years. So it's really cool to be able to kind of put my little stamp on the timeline of some of these charities of what I can do to help build them up and see them actually make a difference and stuff.
That's cool. I want to kind of full circle it. It's the transparency that I have seen people really succeed with. If people really care about what they're being a part of, and there's not just some end goal of like, oh, this is going to benefit me, it shines through. And it's neat seeing, and even Jess talks to me about you often with how many things you were involved in. And it's like that seems to be one of those driving factors or driving forces that really, it's the make or break of an event for me. That's been my.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and to be completely transparent, like I do benefit from doing charity work. I do meet people that feed into my real estate career, and it's fantastic when that happens because you want to work and you want to do business with people that have similar values as you and find things like that important. So like that, I'd rather spend my time out doing good, doing stuff that I enjoy and that makes my heart happy. And if that brings me business on top of it, then like it's a win-win for everybody. So
I love it. Is there something that you want to ask Jess that we have not asked?
Or ask Courtney. I mean, I can just sit and observe. I don't know.
No, I don't have questions. I wasn't preparing any questions.
Oh, that's funny. Are any last thoughts? Is there anything else you would want people to know about in the realm of fundraising that we haven't really talked about?
I mean, we've talked about it, and it's my go-to is just be creative with it. Stop doing the boring stuff. You'll get far more results. Throw a little bit of money at something just to try something crazy. You'll get it back. People want to support it. They want to do something fun and silly with you. And as long as you're having fun while you're doing it, they're going to feed off of that, and they're going to have fun too. So get that core group of
do what? At it, right? Throw
do
money
what?
and glitter, right?
Right. And yeah. I mean, if you could just cover your event in glitter, I'm going to be there writing checks. So I don't know about. I assume other people will too. I don't know. Something like that.
Cover ourselves in glitter, and people.
It seems like such a great idea. I don't understand why more people don't do it.
That's how you should do all of your real estate now. Just show up bedazzled.
With bags of glitter as I walk. Yeah. As I walk into houses, just flinging it everywhere.
Please do.
I'm sure people would love to come home to their home like that.
We sold your house.
Right.
And you'll find glitter in all of your stuff for the rest of time.
All of your stuff. Your couch is covered. Sorry, people.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
We're really excited about this. It's fun to talk to people other than just us throwing ideas out. Obviously, we have a background in it, but it's really neat to talk to people that live.
Yeah, I don't have a background. I'm not a professional like you guys are. You guys do it nonstop. I just dabble around and have some fun with it.
He's so nice.
I'm just a lot of energy. I just like feed me a couple of Red Bulls and then let me go, and I'll entertain everybody around.
Red Bull and glitter, check.
Red Bull and glitter and me and your fundraiser's set. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yep. Now
And some food. You gotta feed me, obviously.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks guys.